Hello, it's another Changeling Ramble. I'm going to talk about the Winter Court now. Um, the Winter Court believe that if the true Fae can't find you, they can't take you back, which is kind of simple and honest, but they prefer to stay hidden and silent. They use codes and secret messages. They usually have multiple homes. They usually stay on the run. They try to avoid regular paths. They're kind of, ultra paranoid in how they do things. Winter has safe houses set up, where changelings can hang out if their home is uh, basically if they need some place to just hang out that isn't their home to kind of break up their routine. There's lots of paranoia and secrecy. They try to be as normal as possible and to fit in as much as possible. So they try to blend with mortal society and not stick out as much. Sometimes they're called cowards, especially by the Summer Court. They don't like others to know their motives, so they're even things that they could share with their motley, which is kind of like the small group of changelings that maybe they escape the hedge with together. They won't even let them know. That's kind of like their new family. They silently collect information, and they're kind of known to being assassins as well. Kind of like, you know, just shooting with arrows or stabbing people in the back when they're not looking. They're spy masters, fixers. They evade problems as much as possible. They take lots of refugees in when they first come out of the hedge, because when you first come out of the hedge, that's the thing you want most, is to not be found, and that's their guiding principle. Eventually, some people will leave the Winter Court because they kind of grow out of it. Let's see here. There's the winter market that they do, which is kind of like a big, booth and big kind of like not really a carnival, but more like a flea market. But it's less magical than the Fallen Fair that the Autumn throw. Uh, Basically, they try to give a different venue than the Goblin markets that you can find eventually in every once in a while in the hedge. And Goblin markets are the hobgoblins that get together and they sell kind of like illicit, illegal stuff. Um, for instance, like parts of changeling bodies that might do certain things, um, ground up like powders and goblin fruits and strange devices that usually have a nasty side to them. That's kind of thing with the goblins and hobgoblins. Yeah, you get something, and sometimes something pretty cool, but you'll have like a really nasty side effect. So like the buyer beware is a good thing to tell you when you're going to a goblin market. But anyway, the winter formal is a dance for changelings. White and black are their colors, and sorrow is their emotion. Um, they hide from their sorrow, but they live vicariously through the sorrow of others, and they harvest more sorrow to turn into glamour whenever they're harvesting that. Um, that's something I can talk about later. There's the courtless, which are basically kind of like the not really anarchists, but they kind of are. They don't really believe in the political structure and the powers of things, and they're really not an organization as such. They're really just not the above. So if the courts are theists, maybe the courtless are, atheists. So that's a kind of a good analogy. Maybe not. Just that some people believe in things. They believe in, certain emotions or certain ways of doing things, and others don't believe that those are necessary. They think that, why should I bow down to a king and queen? I can be my own person. I don't need them to tell me how to live my life. So there's the courtless and the four courts, and like I said, there's other courts in different parts of the world and the different splat books. So that's the courtless. Let's see here. We talked about the fetches, true fae. The true fae are just nasty. You can really kind of bring in some Cthulhu-esque, old ones strangeness with the true fae if you really want to. The fact that they have no empathy at all just really makes them kind of a nice antagonist. Like, yeah, they just are that empty of emotion. The true fae are really kind of the way they present it in this book is they're really kind of awesome. I mean, kind of like disturbing awesome, but still awesome. They lie, they cheat. You know, they just all they care about is their own selfish entertainment. Let's see here. Some changelings are really kind of crazy. Like maybe they're stuck in a hedge for too long, or their endurance really was that bad. They come out of Arcadia with all kinds of derangements. And those can be nice antagonists. You can also start out the game with less clarity. That's the morality stat, to give you some extra XP, and that could be kind of fun too. You know, you come out of the hedge a little bit, you know, just crazier than most people. The theme of madness in the game is something that should present itself, and not just in the changeling's behavior or the true fae, but just in the chronicle in general. You know, maybe they bump into NPCs or maybe even mortals that are crazy, or they just aren't quite right in the head. And that's kind of a nice little theme or mood to use. Let's see here. That's pretty much most of the setting as far as that stuff goes. There's more information as far as seemings and kiths, which is kind of like the races equivalent in Changeling. How you've been changed by Arcadia. And the chapter 2 is the character creation chapter, and it's pretty chunky as well. There's lots of options. You basically just add the Changeling template on top of the World of Darkness character creation. You get things like weird and glamour. You know, you still have your vices and virtues. But your seeming, that is your Fey main. That is what you are actually like, what you've been transformed to by Arcadia. It's basically your appearance, and the mask covers that. But it's based on your keeper or task, like I talked. And kiths are more specializations of your seeming. Seemings are kind of like broad categories that kind of point you in a certain direction, and kiths are more specialized. And even the kiths, they're open to interpretation, open to looks and description. So if you like to describe your looks in different ways, Changeling is a great game for you. Because you can really say, you know, well, I have 15 fingers, or you know, I have horns growing out of my ears, or you know, whatever you want to do, because it's possible. There's more openness to let the players influence what they are, influence the game more, which I like. I've talked about story games before. It seems like Changeling has incorporated some of those ideas, and I'm going to bring more myself. I like to have players have more input in the game and what they're running. So they might be surprised at times when they'll ask me a question, like, you know, what's there? And I'm going to say, I don't know. What is there? Describe something that makes sense, and run with it. So we'll see how that happens. Let's see here. I could go through the character creation stuff, but I'm just going to skip it. If you're really interested, you can get the World of Darkness in the Changeling game. It's pretty open format. You know, you can come up with a great concept and put your dots and your attributes and skills the way you want. You can buy merits that let you do cool things, kind of like feats. If you played any World of Darkness game, you pretty much know all this stuff. I like the World of Darkness system. I think it's great. So I'm kind of skip it. There really isn't too much that I think that needs to go over. I talked about clarity being morality, glamour. Just make cool characters, you know. Quick rundown. Well, you know what? On the next video, I'm going to talk about the seemings and kiths and what the differences are.